Yesterday I was in the Knesset, and I felt, I didn't feel like I was in the Knesset, but in a kindergarten. It's not really policies, it's just personalities. Come on, solve it.
What role do you think there could be if in the next 3 weeks you saw mass movement on the street? If you had 200,000 people going out to Kikar Rabin in Tel Aviv and demonstrating, saying, do something, we can't continue like this. Would that have an impact?
Yes, I think it is. If there is, if the public is going out to the street. By the way, in those times, it's very hard that people will go out. But if it will happen, I think it will create a pressure on the politicians.
But why don't you think that's happened up until now?
I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe because there is a feeling that we are going to solve the crisis. Maybe because just people are today prefer to sit at home and just write something in the social media, in the social networks. But definitely, I think we are in a political situation that Israel has never been before. It's the first time that we went to second election. It's the first time that we arrived to the stage of the 21 days. And I really I'm doing everything I can in order to prevent third election, but it's really depend on few other politicians like Avigdor Lieberman and Benny Gantz.
But couldn't you have gone in with blue and white and kind of formed a unity government with the Gantz? I mean, you say you did everything to prevent it.
Yeah, but this is a minority government that in order to pass a budget, you need the Arab list. It's not really a government with majority that can function. So it wasn't really an option.
Let's say there's a third election. What's your move? I mean, what's your next move? Who do you run with?
We are in the new right, and I really working I'm working for 2 months already, and I will work in the 21 days that we left to see if we can put a little bit brain in the head of our leaders and really convince them to prevent the third election. Really, the atmosphere in the public is that they don't want to see the politicians anymore because they don't believe the politicians.
But do you run alone? Do you run with Bayit Yehudi?
I'm not talking now about how we're going to run. We don't know yet. We didn't sit about it. As I said, we are really focused in preventing the elections right now.
Would you eventually like to get into Likud?
I don't know what will happen in the future. I belong to the right camp for sure. I'm one of the ideological leaders of the right camp. I don't know what will be in the future.
Let's go for a minute now. Let's move away from politics for a second. Look at what happened in Washington with the Pompeo declaration. How significant in your mind is that declaration?
It is very significant. First of all, for more than almost 40 years. For 40 years, there was the declaration from Carter administration that was totally wrong. By the way, according to the international law, Judea and Samaria, it's not an occupied territory. It's territory under dispute, even according to the law. And the assumption that it is occupied territory and that the settlements are illegal, it was spread, first of all, in the left camp here in Israel and then abroad. And I think it is very, very important that the government of United States declared loud and clearly that the settlements in Judea and Samaria are legal. And it can help us very much in different processes that we have, diplomatic processes and in courts around the world.
There are those who say that because we're fiddling around with our politics, we're squandering an opportunity that Trump has given us.
You're right.
Wasted a year.
You're right.
What could we have been doing or should be doing instead of fiddling with
we should apply the Israeli law on the Jordan Valley, on Gush Etzion, Ma'ale Edomim. We have now a windows of opportunity that the government, that the administration in the United States is really support this move. And if we are just dragging to another election, we can maybe miss this opportunity. You know, after Pompeo gave his declaration, I said, at least in the United States, they have a right-wing functional government. But really, it's a big opportunity for Israel, and we are trying to establish a government because there are huge challenges, economic challenges. We need to take care of the deficit. There is a security challenges in the north, in the south, and there is, as you said, there is a rare opportunity that United States supporting, applying the Israeli law on the Jordan Valley, and we should not just drag to little politics, or as I said, you know, really, when you think about it, Benny Gantz and Yair Lapid and Ashkenazi, they are just saying no to Netanyahu because of 4 months. So why to drag the country for election just because of 4 months?
I mean, there are those who have said that someday you might be prime minister. Is that something you aspire to?
I said many times that after Netanyahu and in the future, it is a possibility, but you know, in the political life, it's very hard to predict the future. Right now, what we are trying to do, or what I'm trying to do, is to establish a government in Israel with a heavy right camp in the government, in order that we will be able to, as you said previously, to apply the Israeli law in the Jordan Valley, to take care of the economy, to do a reform in the judicial system. There are so many things that we need to do. So let's establish a government first.
I know that the future is uncertain, but would you want to be prime minister?
One day.
One day, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.